We've mentioned several times in this module the term split and parallel operation. We're now going to take a deeper dive into what it means to run a split or parallel production operation. A split farm is one where the operator has visually distinguishable crops, conventional and organic. For example, an operation would be split if they grow organic corn and soybeans and conventional wheat. A parallel production farm would grow the same crop organically and conventionally. For example, raising both organic and conventional corn on the same farm. Both parallel and split operations pose additional challenges for certification than if the farm were just dedicated organic. The issue at hand with split and parallel production farms is the protection of the organic crop's integrity. How can we ensure that organic is not contaminated with chemicals or commingled with non-organic grain raised on the same farm? The good news is that split and parallel status operations are indeed allowed in organic certification. And over the years, I've witnessed conventional farmers able to transition at a pace that makes sense for them, not rushing all of their land into certification at once, but rather setting themselves up for success by converting a manageable amount of land to organic over time. The other benefit I've seen when inspecting organic farms around the country is that not all land is a very good fit for organic farming. Highly erodible land or steeply sloped fields might be better farmed conventionally no-till. That being said, split and parallel operations are more work for the organic manager. The work comes from designing and implementing systems which clearly protect the integrity of the organic crop from commingling and contamination. Commingling is a word that's found throughout the organic standards and boils down to organic grain getting mixed with conventional grain, thus losing its organic status. Contamination is when an organic grain or other crop is exposed to a prohibited substance, also losing its organic status. A common example of accidental commingling is when a producer stores their organic grain in a bin that wasn't cleaned out properly and had conventional grain in it. As soon as the organic and conventional grain come into contact with each other, the whole bin of organic grain is considered conventional and cannot be sold as organic. This wouldn't be a problem if the operation were a dedicated organic operation. Storage can also be a point of contamination on split and parallel operations. If a farm has conventional and organic bins, and say an employee could be instructed to fog a conventional bin for bugs but accidentally fogs the organic bin, then suddenly that bin is no longer organic. There are a host of ways farmers protect their crops from contamination and commingling. Let's run through two of the most common practices. As you build your system, you can ask your certifier as to whether a process is sufficient to protect the organic integrity. First, the best way to protect organic integrity is to have a dedicated facility and equipment. For example, dedicating a set of bins to organic, having one combine that just runs organic, or setting aside an auger that will only be used to transport organic grain. While that's the most effective way to prevent commingling and contamination, it's also probably the most expensive way, and not a lot of farms will be able to justify those extra costs. Therefore, the second option is cleaning. There are 4 primary ways to clean equipment shared between a split and organic operation: compressed air, sweeping, washing, and purging. If you plan to run a split operation, you need to identify a cleaning method for each piece of equipment shared between the two sides of the operation. You have to write it into the OSP and then make sure you stick with it. Each operation is going to have unique solutions to cleaning, but remember that ultimately the risk of a rejected load due to GMO presence is on the producer. So doing whatever it takes to protect the status of the crop is in the best interest of the organic manager. One piece of machinery that every farmer has to sink significant time into maintaining the organic status of is the combine. To make sure that stray kernels of, say, conventional corn or beans in the combine don't compromise the status of the organic crop harvested after the conventional, a thorough cleaning with compressed air is likely going to be necessary. It's a common complaint when I ask farmers what they do to protect their organic crop's integrity during harvest, and they tell me this exhaustive story of how they had to get so dirty, spending 6 hours cleaning out their combine. But, inevitably, That 6 hours of cleaning seems like a pretty good payday when they consider the pay difference between a load sold to the organic price and a load rejected and sold at the local elevator. A tip to make your life a little easier is to set up a consistent clean down for your equipment every year. If the equipment is only used once a year, say a combine at harvest, try to time your operations so that in the spring and summer, when the equipment is first coming out of the shed, having been cleaned the previous fall and winter, you can use the equipment first on the organic and then on the conventional. Another key difference between split operations and dedicated organic operations is record keeping. Organic certifiers will have the authority to request all documentation on the conventional side of the operation as well as the organic side during your inspection. This is to verify that there's no evidence of fraud and commingling between the organic and conventional side. Having your conventional paperwork ready along with your organic for each inspection is obviously additional work. All of the efforts made to protect the organic integrity of the crop on a split or parallel operation needs to be documented. And these records need to be in an auditable format for the organic inspector to review. In the inspector's eyes, if it ain't written down, it didn't happen. With all of this said, running split operations and being certified organic is possible. You don't have to transition your whole farm to organics all at once, but be prepared to be vigilant about protecting the organic integrity of your crop. Set up consistent processes in your organic system plan so that your certifier can approve the plan before implementation. And always keep a record of each clean out and purge so that you can show your plan is being implemented and is working.